Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini preview, and today we are talking about Arcs from Later Games and designed by Cole Wehrle. Now, this is one that is hitting Kickstarter, well, now, I guess, and I caught wind of it a little bit from the various podcasts I listened to. Dice Tower Now, I believe, is the one that I really first heard about it and picked up on it, and in general, I'm a fan of what Later Games does. I don't always love the games, and I'm actually really weird in that I think Vast Mysterious Manor is just their best game. I know everyone tells me, no, that's wrong, it's Root, but whatever. But I'm always interested in what it is that they are doing with their games. It's always interesting, it's always clever, and it's always something that really is worth checking out. And with that in mind, I reached out and they were kind of sending me an early draft of the rules and access to the basic TTS mod. And this base, now my understanding is that there is some kind of campaign type thing or scenarios or something that you can do. I don't know anything about that. I literally just played the vanilla core game a few times on TTS, so also keep that in mind that I've only played this game a few times digitally. Now, with that being said, what ARCS is it is a 4X style game that plays pretty darn quick. You have to play with either 3 or 4 players, and the core mechanic of it is trick taking. And how it's going to work is there are 4 different types of cards that you can play. You can play a battle card, you can play a build card, you can play a repair card, or you can play a mobilized card. Now those aren't the actual names, that's just how I remember them, or blue, green, brown, yellow, whatever. And each of these cards though, when the leader leads with one of them, they're going to get to take whichever action's written on the card. So like for a battle card, it's either a move or initiate a battle, but they're going to get to do it as many times as there are symbols on the card. And the lower numbers have more symbols on them. Then the next player around, they have a choice. They can either follow if they have a higher number card, and they get to put that out, which means they're going to get to take less actions, but they can follow and do as many as they can, as many actions as on their card. And the other benefit is, if they played the highest card and they win the trick, then they're going to actually claim the initiative. Then next thing you can do is you can pivot. You can simply put down a card of a different action, a different thing, and say, you're leading with battling. I don't want to do that. I'm going to do this mobilize card. And so I'm going to put that down. And that's going to allow me to do one action of whatever the other thing I put down is. Or you can play a card face down and just do a single action of whatever I led with. And the reason for that is maybe you don't have a high enough number, or you just don't want people to know what it is that you're doing. You put a card face down, whatever, you can do that. And there's a few other things in there that you can actually do. But that's how you're going to do your action. So you're drawing these cards at the beginning, you have your hand, and you're playing out of your hand. And these 4 types of cards are going to let you move around the board. You're going to be building new ships, you're going to be building factories, you're going to be researching various technologies that you have, which will allow you to have more units or better units or whatever. You're going to be pulling resources off of planets, and each of the resources has something that it can do. Like you can discard a relic or a sonic, I can't remember which one, that's going to allow you to do a research action for free, and you're going to pay 1 less material. Or the missiles, you can let you roll more dice in combat, whatever. All these things you're going to be doing with these cards. Everything you can do in a 4X, you're going to be doing here. And along with that, the market has an interesting thing going on because you're going to be playing your cards to influence the market. You're going to be putting your cubes out onto the market board as you're going. That's how you're going to get new cards at the end of each hand. When all of the cards in your hand are played out, you're going to look at who has the most influence on the market, and that's going to allow you to get new cards, as I said, do some extra building, do some extra extracting for materials, and so on and so on. And then the second last thing I want to touch on is combat. Combat is very interesting in that, for the most part, anything that you have is going to get you 1 die. And there are 3 different types of dice. There are the safe dice, they're called bombard dice, I don't know, where you're attacking from way far away, and you might do 1 damage, or you might do a half a damage. If you do a half damage, then you just have to have 2 half damages that equals 1. Pretty easy, and it always rounds down. Or you can take the red dice, which are a little more aggressive, in which you're more likely to hurt them, but they might also hurt you. Instead of rolling just an A on the die, you might roll a D on the die. That means the defender does some damage. And then there are the raid dice, which are more likely to hurt you, but you might also be able to steal something from them. And everything in the game takes 2 damage, pretty simple. And the other thing that's worth pointing out here is combat's very fast because only the attacker is going to roll their dice. That's it. The dice might hurt the attacker, but that's it. It's one roll and done. Though, of course, if you play a low enough battle card, or aggression card, I think it's actually called, you could do the combat over and over again if you have more symbols on your card. Then the last thing is, how do you actually win the game? You win the game by having those power points or victory points. And every round there are 2 different objectives that are out on the board that will score. And it might be something along the lines of have played the most aggression cards, or it might be control the most planets, or it might be control the most sectors with nobody else in them, or whatever. But what matters here, at the end of each hand, you're going to score 2 out of the 3 objective cards that are on the board. One's going to slide off, and the third one that you saw out there is going to slide into a scoring position. So the next round, you'll score 1 objective that you had scored previously again, and then a new one, and you'll flip out a third one, which will be what's going to be scored 1 round later on. Then, of course, there's a big overarching end-game objective that you're working towards, and everyone has their own secret personal objectives, whatever. But really, that's it. You're going to play through 5 hands, and in the 3-player game, it's 6 cards in each hand. And then, when that's done, whoever has most power is going to win. So what do I like about this game? First thing is, I really do like that it is quick. I don't know what's going on. It's like there's a new drive to have fast 4X games, but this is really a fast 4X game. Now, it says in the rules that your first play might take 2 hours or 3 hours, and I don't even see how that's possible. I mean, we were playing this in under 3 hours, probably in under 2 hours with learning the game, going over the game, and playing it on TTS. So it's a fast game. And it's fast, I think, because one of the things I really like is options are limited each round. Because you can only play with the card you have in your hand, for the most part. Yes, you can follow somebody, but yes, you can do a copy action of what someone else has led with, but that's not going to get you much. It's only going to get you 1 action. And because it's only going to get you 1 action, it cuts down on the choices. It really makes AP a lot harder to have because you're looking at your hand, and as you go through the round, you're getting fewer and fewer options. And I really like that. Obviously, I should say I really like this idea of doing trick taking as the main mechanic. I just think it's fascinating. Utterly fascinating. In fact, the first time that I played this, I was thinking about it for 3 days until I got more people who could come together and try this because it's just so, well, fascinating. I know I've said it like 27 times now, but there you have it. And I just think it works really well and feels different from all the other different 4X games that I've played. And I think for me, that is what is so exciting about this, because you're still getting that kind of 4X feel, but it's new. And it feels new and it feels fresh, and that's also really, really cool. I also like the rotating objectives each round, how you can't just lock into one thing and keep doing one thing over and over again to necessarily be able to win. I think that's really, really clever. I like how the tech market works. I like how you're getting things and you are really trying to decide, do you want to get something that's going to allow you to build a new kind of unit? Do you want to get something that you're going to put out there that's going to upgrade an existing unit? Or my favorite things are you can get some of the tech that what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to do more. For example, the last game I played, I had a tech that allowed me to, every time I did a mobilize with a blue action as a pivot, I got to take all the actions on the card. So if I put out a pivot that would normally only let me do 1 blue action, but there was 3 on the card, I could do all 3. And there's tech out there that just lets you become more asymmetric, and I really, really like that. I think that is just makes for such amazingly wonderful decisions that you have to make as you go through the game. I also really enjoy how the combat works. I like that you are making that choice of how dumb do you want to be. In my case, probably really dumb, but you have to choose that. Do you want to play it really, really safe and hope you get really lucky, or are you going to just risk it and go for everything all at once? And it is a shockingly hard choice to make each time as you're trying to figure out what kind of risk reward do you want to put out there. And it just fascinating. I really, really like it. And also, as I've already said, combat's really, really fast. It's 1 dice roll, done, move on. I also like what they've done with the materials in the game. So often you have materials in these types of games and you just need the stuff to do the stuff. But in this one, every single one of those cards has its own special power. So you're getting materials, you're extracting materials, which is not particularly easy. You're extracting materials to build stuff and then to use these other powers. And it's just very, very clever. I love it. Now, that's a lot of stuff I really like, but what are my quibbles with the game? Well, the first thing is, as near as I can tell, at least now, and again, I'm sure there will be something later on that opens it up to 2 players, but it's only for 3 or 4 players. And that just makes it harder to get to the table. And usually I like playing these games at 3 or 4 players, and I usually think these games don't work well at 2, but I want that option. I think this game screams for something like the Clockwork in Root. So you can play a 2-player game, then get another bot in there that can do so. It's just something like that. I think it screams for that, and hopefully that'll come. Again, I don't know what else is coming. I will also say that it's possible just to get whooped, and there really isn't any kind of catch-up mechanic in this game. Now, that is good or bad, depending on your opinion on things, but this first game I played, I was a runaway winner. The last game that I played, I was literally almost wiped off the map. And because there was no rule in there of what happens if you get everything wiped off the map and you have no factory, so you can't build anything anywhere, the person that I was playing with, he just said, well, I think he took pity on me and just kind of went and fought somebody else, and I was never able to recover. And I reached out, and I know that there is actually a rule. I wouldn't just be out of the game, but you can just get wiped out. Now, the game's pretty quick, so maybe that doesn't matter, but it seems like in this last game, it was at the end of round 2 that I realized, I don't think I'm going to be able to catch up here. And so just something to keep in mind. And the last 2 things that I'm going to say is, one, because this is a trick-taking game and you're drawing new cards to your hand every turn, sometimes you just don't get what you need. I know that in the last game that I played where I got wiped off the board, I just needed to build and I needed to attack. And the last 2 hands, I just didn't get any of those cards. And that's, my luck. If you know me, I have terrible luck, but I just didn't get it. So that is something that is possible. So again, something to keep in mind. Yes, there is the follow, there is the copy action and so on, but sometimes you're just not going to get what you need and you're going to have to try to find a way around it. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, and I suspect this is going to change, but again, I don't know. This game is not asymmetric like Vast and Root. Now, as you play, you're going to be getting different technologies, and you will become more or less asymmetric as you go. But you don't start any different, at least not in the prototype that I played. So there you have it, folks. That is Arcs, and I tell you, I like this game. I am very much wanting to play this game again. I'm very excited to learn about what all the stuff that I don't even know exists is. I'm fascinated by this game. I think if you are a 4X fan and you do like trick-taking, because really look at that trick-taking mechanic of how you're choosing your actions, because that's going to make or break the game for you. But I think if you like that idea and you are a 4X fan, then this game is another one that you have to check out. I think it is unique. I think it is fun. I think it is fast, and I'm still thinking about it. So there you have it, folks. That is Arcs. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.